Hello, sports fans, sports collectors, hobbyists. Welcome to the Car King Sports Show. I'm the Catman, Brian Cataquet, a.k.a. the Car King. Catch us live at KMET1490am.com, or if you missed the show, you can hear all of our shows on the site by clicking on my podcast on KMET site. We have a special guest on the phone, and we welcome in Roberto Clemente, Jr. Roberto, thank you so much for being here. Brian Cataquet.
Brian, I'm doing great. How are you?
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well here at finally seeing sun in Phoenix, Arizona. The last since I got here Sunday, it's been rain, so it's good to see sun in Phoenix.
It's good to see baseball back, Roberto. So tell me a little bit what's going on in your life. What's new in the life of Roberto Clemente, Jr.?
Well, there's a lot going on. I am back in Pittsburgh, living since last June. Wanted to be there for a few months to kind of welcome Roberto Clemente III to the world. So Pittsburgh, it was between Pittsburgh and Puerto Rico. Pittsburgh won because of everything that's been going on in down in Puerto Rico. So I'm very, very happy that we welcomed RC3, as I call him, to the world in Pittsburgh, and at the same time, I wanted to have that connection that we have, but being able to do something more than just talking about baseball and the charities, but started a old company into the insurance business, the Roberto Clemente Jr. Family Insurance. We're located in Shadyside, but we're covering the whole state of Pennsylvania. So that's something that for me will be our giving arm and being able to sponsor, kids. The more we grow the business, the more we can do in the community. So very proud of what's going on there, and so that's one of the things that made me go back to Pittsburgh, and at the same time being able to be an ambassador, global ambassador for Food for the Hungry, which headquarters are here in Phoenix. That's why I'm here. And also with the Roberto app, which is a 6-minute brain monitoring tool that I believe is going to really change the world, how we monitor our brain health and brain performance.
Wow, you're certainly a busy man, Roberto. Roberto, we all know of your dad's tragic accident back in '72, and it's something that one never gets over. But if I may ask you, how were you able to cope with that loss as you got older and create a positive future for yourself?
I think there's a lot of ways I can even start talking about my story, and right. We can be here for days.
Right.
Trust me, Brian. It was hard. Obviously, the loss at age 7, and then at the same time becoming probably the spokesperson, because Mom has been always very quiet. Very reserved, and she kind of pushed me to the front and sent me out representing the family at a very early age, and that in itself kind of took me away of being a kid. I grew up very quickly, missing my father. Missing my father was pretty tough, but being able to grow up and be raised by my mother, I would say that I was raised by Mother Teresa, and the giving and the culture of giving is something that helped me immensely in really stay in the path of giving. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that I was a troubled soul, a kid that was angry at God and angry at the world, because every single day of my life, I was walking out the door and had to field questions and comments and stories of people about my father, their connection to him. And not ever did I ever ask or answer a question about myself in terms of how I was doing. It was about how their feelings and their feelings about their loss of my father, and at the same time, I'm actually consoling all these people that I don't even know, and no one's actually asking me how I'm doing. So it was pretty tough growing up in that situation. Sports had a lot to do in terms of my energy outtake, and it helped me a lot.
Now I read a stat, something like 1.5 million children are living in a single-parent household because of the loss of a parent. And I wanted to ask you, what can you say to those children who may be listening to the program, and what they can do to ease their trauma and, to begin moving forward in their lives?
It's I truly believe you need to find someone that you can trust. There's a lot of people, from your teachers to coaches to, I mean, it could be an aunt and uncle. Your parents could be, if your parent that is there. Sometimes you don't feel like you can talk to your parent. I feel like I couldn't talk to my mom about several things. And there was a man that was close to the family. I consider him to be an uncle. And I would listen to him. I really hardly asked questions. I started gaining a lot of my answers by really just kind of asking sometimes, but raise your hand and ask for help. It's very important to let people know what's going on. I actually kept everything inside, and it was tough. It was tougher, and it became a lot easier when I was able to open up and share what I was feeling. So for me, my advice is to really find someone you can talk to. At the same time, find something you're passionate about, and set some goals that are going to keep you moving. I myself also believe that faith is and spirituality. It goes a long way. I found that the father, my physical father that I was missing. I have a true father, which is my Lord and Jesus Christ. And when that happened to me, I truly realized that I wasn't alone, and it helped me a lot. Sometimes you forget that you still have a father, but at the end of the day, when you find him again, you realize that he's always been there. So it is a very powerful part of your life and your lifestyle, making sure you eat right, you sleep right, because it's going to affect everything in terms of emotions and your mental health. It's all involved in one, and I do understand it because I lived it, and that's why I have decided that I need to share my story and start writing my book, because I have a lot of stories there that I know it's going to really impact a lot of people, because they're not alone. You're not alone. I've been there, and it's something that I truly understand, that we sometimes are in a place of darkness, and it's all going to be able to be good as long as you're true to yourself and understanding when you need help. Just raise your hand and ask for help.
Yeah, well, I'm sure your dad is looking down and is very proud of you. You made one of his dreams come true with the Roberto Clemente Sports City, right?
Yes. His dream, and it's unbelievable that it's been so many years and we're still talking about him the way we are. His legacy is stronger than ever. But his caring and giving side of him wanted to have a place that kids could get together, where not only the kids but the whole family could really gather together around sports and arts. He was an artist. Dad was, and other people don't understand that. My father was a musician.
Oh, really?
He made ceramics. He made lamps. From driftwood. He would be very creative. He was an artist. He was a Renaissance man.
What instrument did your dad play, Roberto?
He played the organ. He played the harmonica. By ear. He was great. He was really good.
Yeah, he was definitely gifted.
Yes. So he did those things. At the same time, in the basement we had molds. I don't know how many molds we had from what do you call it? From Spanish art, and make ceramics out of it, and spend time painting, and beautiful pieces. He was also a poet. He wrote a couple of poems, and one in particular that people have heard before in documentaries. But he was a complete artist, if you will. So he was ahead of his time. He was his own agent. He was his own marketing man. I was telling a story here in Phoenix to some of the players that, he was actually the spokesperson for Panasonic. He was the spokesperson for Eastern Airlines, for Gatorade.
And he did this all himself. He was his own agent. He was his own promoter.
He was his, yes, absolutely. Yes, he yes. At the same time, he was also a person that healed people. I remember people knocking on the door at different times at night, and him opening the door, and people were coming in with crutches or wheelchair, and they would say, "We heard you can fix my father or my kid or whatever." Whoever walked in, and he would work on them. He was actually a about to be certified as a chiropractor. But he was also a combination of a chiropractor and a healer. And I saw so many great things out of our living room that it's just, I mean, I have to share the stories because it is amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing stuff. It's just amazing stuff. So now let's talk a little bit about your baseball career. You played for the Phillies, and then you went over to the West Coast, right, with the Padres, correct?
Yes. Sandy Alomar Sr. was coaching the year before, and he saw my frustration with our coach. We had 13 guys that could not speak English in my team. So I ended up in Gastonia, North Carolina, with 13 guys. We had no vehicles for 2.5 weeks. We had a situation of very racial tension in that town. We're talking about 1985.
85.
And we had to walk 4.5 miles to get to the ballpark because I couldn't fit 13 guys anywhere, and I had to keep them together. So we would walk to the ballpark and walk back. But every other week, we had KKK rallies in that main street, only one main street to get to and from. And it was quite an interesting 6 months of my life dealing with that situation. But Sandy saw what was going on there, but he said, these guys are abusing you in many ways, because I was actually helping our staff and in so many ways. I had no time for myself. So I ended up in San Diego in 1986, which was, I loved that organization. I loved the Phillies organization as well. And obviously I was born with an eye patch, a pirate at heart. At the time, it was not the right time to even talk to the Pirates, with Branch Rickey III was there at the time, and I was going to Manatee Junior College in Bradenton, living in my father's room in Pirate City at the time, and when I got signed by Philadelphia, which was kind of funny, but it's how things work. But for me, getting to San Diego and getting hurt right there at spring training and having
you suffered knee injuries, right,
shot,
Roberto?
My right knee, and it took me 3 years, 3 surgeries to get back to baseball.
Wow.
89, I signed with Baltimore Orioles and AAA contract. Frank Robinson was the manager at the time, who we lost not too long ago, of course.
Right.
Welcomed me to the club. He said, "We have one more game." We were breaking camp, and that morning I woke up paralyzed from my waist down.
Jeez.
So 13 days later, I was able to, feel my big toe on one of my feet, and I was elated, obviously, but that's when the pain started. I had no pain. I had no signal that I had hurt myself. I went to dinner, back to the hotel, turned off the TV, went to bed, and woke up paralyzed. And that was the end of my career.
Man, it's bad. Besides that, you did have an illustrious career. I mean, you also accepted the New York Yankees broadcasting job. Is that right?
Yes. Listen, it's kind of funny that I look back on my life, and I've lived, I don't know, probably 20-some lives already since the age of 7. I have 8 books in my mind. One is from 7 to 11. From 11 to 17. I mean, you go down the list. So it is amazing, the anecdotes, the stories, the good, the bad, the ugly. It's a crazy movie. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah, I mean, your story's like a walking encyclopedia, no question. I mean, and you also became the first Spanish language announcer for the Yankees, right?
Well, it was I was there was a couple guys before me with the Yankees, but I became the first Latino to host the show into the WFAN radio main in New York City. That's the main station in New York, and I became the first one to host a talk show on that station. Yeah.
Yeah, and then in 2001, you hosted a Spanish version of MLB's network television show, Baseball Max. How did that come about?
Baseball Max.
Something else that you created.
Yes. No, listen, that was a great show. That was a highlight show that a lot of people remember. It was a lot of fun to do. It was fun. You know, I was able to, and I tell young people that when you have a goal and life sometimes throws you curveballs, and you need to make an adjustment. Obviously, make adjustments in life, adjustment in sports, and whatever the case may be. But when you're trying to reach your goal and there's an obstacle in front of you, you need to find a way to go through it, get smart. If it's something like it happened to me where I could not play baseball any longer, there are two goals that I wanted to accomplish. One was to become a professional baseball player. The second one to earn my own World Series rings, which I would take in my hands as a kid and look at Dad's 1960, 1971 rings that said, I want to one day earn my own. And
you did that in 2013, correct?
I'm sorry?
And you did that in 2013?
So I did that actually in it was the Yankees won in '96. Right. Well, Yankees won in '96. I was watching in Puerto Rico. I remember watching it, and the next season somehow I'm in some meetings in New York City, and I get offered to become part of the broadcast team for the Yankees. And I did that, and it was actually an amazing run, amazing luck to be part of that team. I think it's going to be hard to really replicate what they did. But to be there in 98, 99, 2000, 2001, those years were pretty special. And yes, was able to go to the World Series, not as a player, but as a part of the team, broadcast team, that was able to get there. And it's something that shows young people that there are so many ways that if you love the sport, if you love any sport and you don't have the God-given ability to get there or the luck, which you need, there are so many ways you can be part of the team. So from broadcasting, the media side, as a trainer, as a coach, I mean, there's so many people that are connected to the game that you have an opportunity to go and go after your dreams.
Well, I'm going to leave you with this, Roberto. Back in '83, I was 10 years old, and my first baseball card that I ever purchased was a 1964 Clemente card. And this is '83. I was 10 years old. And I was so happy to have that card, and I had it hung in my bedroom wall. And, as a kid, through middle school, high school, I used to wake up every day and just stare at that 1964 Clemente card. And I don't know if you're familiar with the card. It has that card pictures your dad in his classic swing, and you can see that clear image of your dad in 1964. And I used to say, wow, that's Roberto Clemente. That's Roberto Clemente in '64. Just looking at that card, during the time he was playing, my point of saying that is that he still lives in the hearts of many in different ways, and it's just your dad's 1964 was the very first baseball card I ever purchased, and it was just hung in my room all through my middle school and high school, and it was just he has that aura in this in this industry.
Yeah, no, he definitely still does, and people like you when speak about their connection, and people that never met him still in that connection connections. Amazing to me how it happens throughout the world. So it is a blessing to me to be able to take part of that legacy and be able to open doors for organizations like Food for the Hungry and Clemente Foundation down in Puerto Rico, and being able to connect now in the state of Pennsylvania. The relationship, the love that he gave him, I want to be able to protect those kids and sponsor them and do as much as I can to continue the legacy of my father and giving back to the community. So I would urge the people that are out there that would like to be part of the family of giving through the agency. They can go to rcjinsurance.com and fill it out. I mean, see if we can save you money. We save you money. You know, just jump on board and help with the community. Absolutely.
Well, you know, I can't thank you enough for being on the program today. It means a lot to me, and you know, I wish you and your family the best of luck.
No, thank you, Ryan. I appreciate it. Anytime, just give me a call. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. There you have it. Roberto Clemente Jr. I would put Roberto Clemente Sr. as one of the top 10 baseball players of all time. His dad was a dynamic player. And, you know, his dad lives in the hearts of so many collectors. 2 years ago, February 2016, here's an example, a 1955 Topps Roberto Clemente card, which is Roberto Clemente's rookie card, 1955. February 2016, his rookie card sold for auction at $478,000, making it one of the 10 most valuable baseball cards in the world. So, I mean, he still lives in the hearts of many through memorabilia, through baseball cards. And something about the cards, if you notice Roberto Clemente baseball cards through the years, like I said, his rookie card was from 1955, and Topps issued it all the way to 1973, which is Roberto Clemente's last card. And something very interesting about Roberto Clemente Topps cards during those years, from 55 through 73, there were Topps printed Roberto Clemente either by stating Bob Clemente or Roberto Clemente on his baseball cards. For example, Roberto Clemente's 55 rookie card, on that card, if you look at it, his name is printed Roberto. His second year, 1956, Topps baseball card, Topps printed it with Roberto. Now, if you look at his 1957 Topps Roberto Clemente cards, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, Topps printed it as Bob. So as a kid, I was telling what I mentioned before when I was talking to Roberto Clemente Jr., when I purchased my very first baseball card back in '83 as a 10-year-old, I purchased the 64 Clemente card, and it had Bob. So I was just a 10-year-old kid getting into the hobby, and I wanted to make sure, because I didn't know at the time, is that the original Roberto Clemente that I just purchased? But I came to find later on that Topps printed some of his cards as Bob Clemente, and Topps printed earlier cards as Roberto Clemente. So it's very interesting. So Roberto Clemente, in my opinion, one of the top 10 baseball players of all time. He might have had the best right-handed arm in the history of baseball, throwing runners out from the outfield. I mean, he was just, you know, a dynamic player. And again, people will pay a lot of money just to have a Roberto Clemente item in their collection. I'll give you another example. I mean, March 14th, 2017, a 56 Topps Roberto Clemente card, his second year, sold for over $100,000. And we can go on. 2016, Roberto Clemente's third year card, which is 1957, sold for $10,278. Roberto Clemente is one of the most popular baseball players' items which one can invest in. So it was really an honor to have his son on this program today. I want to talk about quickly some hobby news briefs. The story of the week is the Michael Jordan card, which fetched for $350,000 on an eBay auction this week. And that happened a couple of days ago, and NBC Sports wrote about it. News is all over the country. If you listened to this program 2 weeks ago, and you can catch the program on my podcast, if you listened to this program 2 weeks ago, what did I say on this program? Invest in Michael Jordan cards. Listen to the podcast 2 weeks ago. Before this sale, I said invest in Michael Jordan cards. And a couple of days ago, world record for a Michael Jordan basketball card sold for $350,000 on eBay. And it was professionally graded by Professional Sports Authentication Company. And what puzzles me a little bit is that someone paid $350,000 for that card, but the card didn't have a grade. It was graded altered, which was kind of surprising. You know, usually PSA puts a grade mint, X-mint. It was graded altered. So, that's kind of puzzling. Someone would pay $350,000 for an altered card, but it's considered now the holy grail of basketball cards. So we're out of time. Until next week, happy collecting to all.